Testing. 1, 2. Just testing out my mic here. I can't believe it, everybody. We're back now. It's been a long time. We took almost the whole summer off. I guess it was the whole summer. Whole summer break we had since the last season. But now we're back. Yeah. Can't wait to get going here. See a lot of familiar people here in the chat. Pavel, especially. Hello, Virtually Jay. I see you in the chat. All right, getting ready to start here. I'm nervous now. All right, let's get my new opening here. Check this out. Hold on. And I'm here. Hey, everybody. Abe here. Back again after, I don't know, how long has it been? I guess a few months at least, or a couple. Summer. We were off the whole summer. And now we're back. I mean, we came back on this week. Tetra Talks went on. I think Justin was on Wednesday. And now I'm here on Friday. And tomorrow, John Sell will be here. What are you looking at? Well, if you haven't been here before, this is the new season of 343 TV. My name is Abe Duque. I will be your presenter for today. What we do here is we do all that is music production, recording music, composition, all the different DAWs that might be out there. We have a school. It's 343 Labs. We have locations in New York, in Berlin, and of course, we're all over the internet. We have classes that begin all the time, especially now in September. We have our new batch of classes beginning. I know I'm starting a new class this week coming up, an Ableton class. And after that, I'll have a mixing and mastering classes starting. We have plenty of things going on. Please visit our website at 343labs.com and have a look at our new schedule. Today, I'm happy to be back. I can't believe it. I'm a bit nervous because I haven't been with you guys in a while. I haven't seen you guys or talked to you guys in a minute. But here I am. And today I figured, I was thinking over the summer what we're going to do that's different because, every time the new seasons come around or a new batch of shows come around, I try to switch it up a little bit. The show is called Production Basics, which could be anything, right? Last season, we were doing a lot of recording and writing songs and so on. We're going to be always doing that. But this week, or at least this week, I wanted to start the series, the new season, with some modular synthesis. So we have, I have a modular synthesizer in front of me. Maybe I should switch over to see if we can show you guys what I have. Yeah, here we go. I have this modular synthesizer in front of me. Well, what is a modular synthesizer? Well, a modular synthesizer is a bunch of components that you put together and create some sort of synthesizer with the components. So each component by themselves is a pretty boring thing. What do the components look like? Well, they look something like this here. This is a reverb unit from Audio Damage, and it has a little connector in the back for power. And all of the other stuff to connect it to the rest of the system happens through the front of the panel here. So in the back, what you do is you get a case first. You got to buy yourself a little case. You can make yourself a very inexpensive one. There are all sorts of solutions. I've seen people making them out of cardboard boxes. But you get a little ribbon that hooks in to the device here. Plug it in, and then you take that other side of that ribbon and plug it into your case where it'll have a bunch of connections for power, and then you lay it in your case and screw it in, and that's what you're seeing here. What you're seeing here is a bunch of these devices independently screwed in and connected just to power. And all these devices handle a different set of tasks. So let me have a look. I see more people are joining now in the chat. I just want to see who's in here. Oh, Max Wild is here. Max Wild is pumped to be back, and yes, I am pumped to be back with you, Max. Selway, I'm saying hello. Todilas, am I saying it wrong? Please tell me. Says hello to you. Martin Crockett is here. Pavel, of course. John Selway, Virtually Jay. Welcome back, everybody. And very happy. And once again, I used to have a little ticker at the bottom of my last season screen that would say, hey, if you have any questions, please ask me in the chat. I love questions. And I don't have it this one. Maybe I should reinstall that ticker. But I have to say, I really love questions. So if you have questions about anything that we're talking about, it'd be very nice if you just drop it in the chat, and we can I can certainly have a look and maybe try to get your answer for you. But anyway, we're talking modular synthesizers. So modular synthesizers go all the way back to I don't know. I mean, Bob Moog built a really beautiful modular synthesizer. Or you would have to spend maybe mortgage your house to buy this thing. But it started then with the same idea, the same concept that, you'd have devices that would be plugged in via, just electricity, and through the front of the panel, you'd be able to plug all the other devices together to create a synthesizer. In 1996, Dieter Dupfer created a format which we now know as Eurorack. And Eurorack is this size, the size that we have in this module and all the other modules here, and he created a system where you could buy a bunch of Dupfer devices or Dupfer components or modules and put them together. The system took off, and third parties all over the place began to appear. And now we're in this kind of Eurorack mania that we kind of are living. So let's get right to it. So I have a bunch of devices in here, and I think the title of the show is Getting Started with Eurorack and your first modules that you might be getting. I tried to pick and choose some modules here that would be interesting to start with, but let's start with really the first device. So the first device that we're going to need is something called a VCO. We can't do anything without a VCO. Now, what is a VCO? A VCO is a voltage controlled oscillator. So this is your VCO, voltage controlled oscillator. A voltage controlled oscillator is a tone generator. It generates a waveform that's going to make a sound. Now, I can demonstrate this I have a DAW here, my favorite DAW, which is Bitwig. I could demonstrate it in that. And let's go to Bitwig. So I have my favorite DAW here. And in Bitwig, they have this thing called a polygrid, which allows you to do kind of this Eurorack stuff in the box. And here we have, I just have it set up here with a triangle wave VCO. And this VCO will make a sound. Now, it needs to be plugged in. Now, they kind of go for the whole modular experience in the box, so it needs to be patched in to an audio sort of amplifier. So if I click here and create a patch and patch it in there, what I should get is a sound. And I kind of can hear it, but let's see what's going on here. If I can... Yeah, that sound is... So we got some sound going on in here. And I think we can hear it going on. I can switch to another VCO. This is a triangle wave, but I could switch to another VCO in a different style. Let's see, where's it's an oscillator. So let's try a sawtooth instead. So that's a sawtooth. And all you get is this voltage generator. And let's take this off for a second because it's getting a little too loud. That I can patch to a sound source, and it is kind of boring, but that's what we need to do to get started. So let's get the setup here. I have a few VCOs, so let's see. I have this one, this Piston Honda, which is a wavetable VCO, pretty awesome. This black wavetable from Erica Synths, which is also very awesome, and this quad neck from Studio Electronics, which is a 4-voice polyphonic chord creating VCO. We'll save that for another time. Let's start with like the simplest one. So here we have the VCO where we have a few controls, and we'll talk about them in a second, but I'm going to just patch this in, going out from my VCO. This is the sound. This is always generating a tone. I'm going to patch it right into a channel here on this mixer. This is my first channel, and I hear no sound. The reason I don't hear a sound is because the mixer has to be patched in to the actual audio. So I'm gonna, by that I mean that it has to be patched to the sound card. So I'm gonna take these two guys here. Oops, I lost sort of my place here, and that should do. And gotta remember not to bump these things. Okay, that looks good. So I got two outs here, left and right, for my mixer, and this will go out to my sound card. This is connected to my sound card, and this should get me a tone. And yes, I have a tone that's being generated. So now we can hear the tone being generated by this VCO. Now, if I wanted to, I could go and change the frequency on it. And that's fine. I could do the coarse, which would be radical. But if all you had to start with was just a VCO and some sort of mixer, this is all you could be doing for the time being. Which is cool, but a bit prohibitive, I would say, because it gets not that it's prohibitive, but it's a little bit hard to get going with it because it's a little bit expensive to buy these devices, and then to be able only to do that becomes a little bit frustrating. So what you need is more devices to kind of create this synthesizer that we're building. So just to refresh, we have a VCO, voltage control oscillator, going into the input of a channel of this mixer here. So this is the input of the channel of the mixer. And I can now create a tone. Now the cool thing about this wavetable VCO is that it has a lot of wavetables, and I could choose a lot of different tones. And then I could cycle through the waves by going that way. So I could pick a particular wavetable and cycle through the table of waves with this knob here. That's pretty cool. But let's just stay with one. Let's stay with that for now. Okay, I went to this one now. Let's go to that one. So that's interesting, but we want to do more with it. So what we can do next, if you were buying these devices, if you bought yourself an oscillator and you had a way to hear it, what you could do next is maybe buy yourself a filter. Now, filters, I have a few of them here. I have 3 of the same ones. These 3 guys here. And they would be referred to as VCFs. So the VCF is the voltage controlled filter. And we'll talk about what voltage control is a little later. But this is the VCF. I have 3 of them. And what I can do is I can create, kind of do the subtractive synthesis thing by manipulating the tone of it. So let's go from the output of this. Instead of going straight to the mixer, I'm going to go out the VCO and go directly in, out the VCO and directly into one of these VCFs, which is the voltage controlled filter. So now that I've gone directly in there, the sound is living here right now. I have to get that patched out all the way back to my mixer. So let's get that. And sorry, this is the in, this is the input, and this is the output. And now the sound is coming through this filter here, through this filter. And if you can hear that, we can now play with the filter and the tone. Now I have the resonance all the way up. And this filter has a low pass mode and a band pass mode, which I can manipulate. Low pass means that when I have the filter all the way to the right, open like this, it's letting every frequency through. And as I turn it to the left, it starts to cut out the high frequencies and lets only the low frequencies pass. And as you could hear it, you could hear the low, but you can't hear all that bright stuff from earlier. You could only hear. And if I open it, now you hear the bright stuff again, but over here you can only hear the low stuff. If I add a little bit of resonance, which is a little bit of a bump, an amplitude bump at the cutoff of the frequency, now you get a little more action there. So you hear that? It's a little emphasis, you might call that, or some companies call that, some synthesizer companies call this what sometimes is referred to as resonance as emphasis. And I like that word the best because emphasis really details what's going on here. So now we have the filter, and that's awesome. So now we're a little bit better than we were before. At least we could do this now with the sound. We can play with the frequency here, and we can make these type of crazy sounds happen if you wanted to, but still a little boring. It's still a little boring. And, this is the reason, this is kind of the big barrier for getting into the Eurorack world. I know there's a lot of interest in Eurorack these days, but a lot of people that try to get into it realize how involved it is to even just make a simple sound that it, can turn them off. But after you get through all these kind of hurdles and you reach the point where you start making, more interesting combinations of these devices, you can start to do some pretty wild stuff. Let's see if we can get there soon today. So voltage sounds bad, says Tadias voltage. And then somebody says it's Abe. What up, fam? That is, it says CME Group 23, I think. Let's see. Howdy. And it's overpriced. Well, yeah, maybe. But, you know, what are you going to do? You got to spend your money on something. Something's got to make you go broke, right? It's true. It does, and that's another. I think the prohibitive part comes with the price of this stuff. But you can kind of build a pretty cool synthesizer, and I'll show you what can happen after you get going. Because the benefit of this system of doing it this way is that you can really put your hands on things and make things happen with your hands. Which in the box, where you're working with a mouse or even with a controller, it's not the same one-to-one, and they're really all different devices, and each device has its own character, and they really become like these different little entities inside of this kind of construction that you put together. Anyway, let's make it a little more interesting. So now, what do we have? We have an oscillator, a voltage control oscillator, which is running through a filter and going to a mixer, which now I can send out to my sound card and you guys can hear. But let's do something a little more interesting with it. I'm going to grab this device here. This device here is the Stilson Hammer. It's a sequencer. So what this does is it's going to provide us a way to control the pitch of the oscillator here. So this is going to be fun because I'm going to be able to take the oscillator and change the pitches by, using these levers here, or levers. So let's see. Let's get this thing running. Let's press run. Actually, I have a drum machine here, which I can make control this guy. So in order to make that get controlled, I got a MIDI controller here, MIDI cable plugged into this module here. And I'm going to send clock from that module into the Stilson Hammer. And as you can see now, the Stilson Hammer is going through, and I'll do it with 16th notes. The Stilson Hammer now is running according to the clock. And if I'll play you the drum machine, so you can hear the drum machine and you could see the running there. So now I'm going to take another cable and run. Once again, I did the dumb thing here. Move this camera. I gotta not do that. So I'm gonna take the control voltage out of this and send it to this input, which is 1 volt per octave, and let's see what happens. Oh, look at that. Now we could change and play some notes with it. Now let me explain a little bit about what's actually happening here. So what we have is something called control voltage. So control voltage is it's a system that we use to control particular values. In this case, the value that we're going to try to control is going to be, and let me just put this up here, control voltage. The particular value that we're trying to control is going to be pitch. So if you have pitch, these VCOs are able to take the pitch that they have as a baseline and then allow you to control the changing of the frequency of the pitch depending on the voltage that you send it. Some of them, a lot of them are at 5 volts plus or minus, which if I go in any direction with that, this thing will shoot out different voltages that will correspond to the frequency that I want this to play. And so this control voltage out of here, out of this channel 1, this first sequence, is going to go into the 1 volt per octave control. So that means every octave needs, if I send it 1 volt, if I want it to go to this next octave, I got to send it 2 volts. If I wanted to go to the next octave, 3 volts, and every note in between is kind of spaced out the same way. You kind of slice it all up, 1 volt per octave. But now this allows me to kind of write some. I'm just going to do the kick drum here. And I could change the filtering. Okay, so let's just recap for a second. Turn this off. So we have now put together a bit of a system. And now you could imagine only the devices that have actual cables in there to be in your rack right now. So it would be a bit of a mixer. And it doesn't have to be a fancy mixer like this. It could be all sorts of things. They sell all sorts of mixers, including ones that are very tiny, small little ones that are maybe the size of this module here. But this is a fancy one for now. So we plug it in to that from the filter. So we have one filter, which is a tiny filter. This thing is very small, very thin. And this is going coming from the VCO, going into the filter, going into the mixer. And then we are controlling the voltage of the frequency on the black table VCO. And we're creating a sequence. And once again, let's make that run. And we could change the sequence by moving these levers, lower levers, or low notes. And then we could change one note. Now I got this repeating at 5 notes. I could go all the way 16th notes if I want, but I think it's kind of cool to just do some polyrhythmic sort of stuff. Okay. But after a while, you'll notice that, you could have more somehow. Maybe you need more somehow. Because one thing maybe you haven't noticed is that I didn't set up the reset there. I'll just turn it down like this. One thing you haven't noticed is that every note that's being played into this guy is of a certain length, and it's either actually every note is on until the next one comes in. So it's just the notes are not shorter or longer. And I could find a way, or I could set up a way to make the notes length be sort of controllable via these devices. And that's when using a component that we are going to refer to as a EG or envelope generator. So you'll see these let me take this control voltage out of here. You'll see the EG and EMV tag on these devices. And basically an EG stands for envelope generator and EMV stands for envelope. And basically what we're talking about is having a way to control the sound that's coming out of coming through the mixer, so that the notes can be longer and shorter depending on how I program it. So the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to use an envelope generator. I have a couple envelope generators. I have this little guy right here, this little tiny guy right here, envelope generator. It's pretty cool. But I have this maths device which does all sorts of things, including envelope generating. So I'm going to maybe do it with the maths. So I'm going to send the trigger from, in the same channel, I can do gate. Now, gate is a way that so we when we work with Eurorack, we work with control voltage for like giving a particular value, and then we work with something called gate or trigger to trigger certain things to happen. So we can make every time this goes through to another note to make it send out a gate. So let's make it send out a gate, and then the gate is going to go out over here from this output, I believe. And we're going to then send it to our mixers, which has another device that we need. And you could get these as individual devices because a lot of mixer components in Eurorack won't have this built in, and this one does, which is a VCA. So a VCA, which is a voltage-controlled amplifier, will receive the gate and open the sound gate momentarily, depending on the settings of the attack and decay on these knobs. So you could have a full ADSR if you wanted to, but here we're just going to do a attack to decay. So I'll show you what it does, and then we could talk about it a little more, explain it a little more. So I'm going to pop it right into here, which is going to control. And now you can see I have very short notes now. Take it out. Notes are not short anymore. Pop it back in. Notes are short again. Now, with the controls here, with the attack and the decay, or they call it rise and fall, which is the same thing. Over here, it's called attack and decay on this envelope generator. But here we just have attack, rise and fall, which is the same thing. I'm going to turn this up, and you see that as I go with the fall, the length of the note gets longer and shorter. And if I play with the attack, the kind of ramping up of the sound is going to get, well, just listen. See how it starts to ramp up and swell in? See how it's swelled in now? So I can make it less attacky. That's very kind of percussive. Short and percussive, right? Long. And now I could make it so that it swells in. So now let's do that with the beat. And cool thing is this guy will let me change octaves right here. And let's play with the filter. But the cool thing that I'm going to be able to do now is set gates where I can make all of them turn off, and only the notes that I give a gate to, because this is the gate mode, will turn on. Go back to CV mode, and I could change the pitch. Go back to gate mode, and I could decide what notes actually play. So just make three notes out of the 5 play here, and then pick which they're going to be. And then I can play with the rise and fall. And I could actually change the type of curve from logarithmic to exponential. More exponential, more logarithmic. Pretty cool, right? So now we're starting to groove with this a little bit and starting to make a little bit of interesting sound with it. Now, let's take a little break here. And it's about halfway point through the stream today. I just wanted to let you guys know, we're 343 TV. We come from 343 Labs. We have a school. Please visit our website and check out what we offer. We offer classes in all of this stuff not only Eurorack, which is kind of new for us to be offering it to the public, but we offer all the DAWs that you want to learn, any type of production, composition, sound design, you name it, we do it. Just have a look at our website. Maybe take a class with us if you like the way that we present you the stuff here. Also, if you could do me a favor and hit the like button, that would be awesome, because then I could impress my friends with telling them how much you guys like me. And if you could subscribe to our channel here, that would be great. We're trying to get up to 20,000 subscribers before the end of the year. I think we could do that. That's pretty. It's not too wild of a goal. Actually, I think we should shoot higher than that. But we're trying to get our numbers higher. So please hit the subscribe button, and please hit the like button if you get a chance to. My name is Abe Duque. I'm an instructor. I teach a lot of things at 343 Labs. I teach mixing and mastering, Ableton. Right now, I'm involved with a new kind of project that we're going to be opening to the public. We're in beta right now, called 343 Studio, which is going actually rather well. We had our first week this week, and very excited about what's going on there. All right, let's keep going here. Oh, Rashane is here. Hey, Rashane. Got to see you guys. Hey, guys, if you want to say comments and say hello, whatever, or questions, just drop them in the chat, please. I often look over to the chat to try to see what you guys got to say, and I'm very happy to talk to you guys anytime I get a chance. Okay, let's move on. So let's refresh and see where we were. We had a VCO going into, and let me take this VCA off the screen. We have a VCO going into a filter, going into the mixer, and the mixer has a built-in VCA, which you can buy as a separate device. And most of the time, when you first get started, you buy small VCAs to get going, and then the VCA will control the note's length, and you can play that with a envelope generator to create new and cool things with it. This is an IntelliGel case. Somebody is asking which case this is. This is any recommendations for a case like that? I love this case. This case is pretty awesome. It's not too small, and it's not too big at all. The problem with buying a case is you can buy a case of the same brand, or several different brands that are smaller, that are like maybe half of this, and then or you could buy one that has another tier. You could keep on adding in, or I would suggest your first case to make it a smaller case, because it gets a little depressing to see a big gigantic case with like two devices in it, or two modules in it. There's a company or a website called Modular Grid that I recommend everybody visit if you're interested in this. Modular Grid will let you go in there, sign in, and they will let you go through every module existing now. And there's literally thousands of modules out there. You go on Modular Grid, you sign up, and then you could build a fantasy sort of rack, where you can choose the size of the rack that you want to have, and then start to like fantasize about, well, if I had all the money in the world, I'd have this, and I'd have this, and I'd have that, and then and then you start putting it together and seeing if it fits, and then maybe when you're ready, you could say, okay, I know now what size I need to get going, and because eventually this is what I'm going to have. And it's a good idea to have like a plan for when you build one of these finally, because just buying a giant rack, could, like I said, it could be a little depressing to like just see a bunch of modules in there. And they're also, not that portable if they get bigger. This one is rather portable. It comes with a kind of I think it's somewhere over there. There's a cover that you clamp it and close it together, and there's a little handle up here where I can take it with me, and to wherever I want to go, I might. If somebody asked me to do a little live jam or whatever, I could just bring this with me whenever I want. So yeah, okay, let's keep going. So far we've got some sound, and it's pretty cool, but we want to make it even cooler. So other devices that you're going to want to get, pretty soon are going to be stuff like maybe an effects unit. So I have a couple of effects units in here. I have a very simple mono sort of delay reverb sort of unit here from IntelliGel. And then I have this one here, the Black Hole DSP2, which is a little more, it's a stereo effect. Let's get that working. So in the mixer here, I know it looks confusing here, but there is a way to plug in the effects so that I can send them from each channel. So if I plug it into this out here, and you can see this yellow with an arrow here that says this is going out, that means I could send with this knob, the yellow knob that's over here. If I plug it in here and I send it into the in, so there's an in left and an in right, but all I need is just one in, it'll do the job. Then I grab a couple more cables, and after a while this starts looking like spaghetti. Let me grab two cables here. And I have a out left and an out right. And then I bring it into the yellow side here for the inputs. Now I can send this here. And as you can hear, we have this effect unit doing its thing now. And now when I work the filter, very interesting sound. Play with these. Let's do that with the drum machine on. A little less effect. Filtering it. Pretty cool now, right? While we're at it, let's take that one off and let's plug in the other effect unit. Just get it ready, because maybe we can, start expanding and testing out. And here I go hitting this thing again. Gotta get this to stay in the right place now. I'm gonna do the input into this little unit from the second send, and the return, it's only a mono return. It's gonna go in there. That one says mix. It goes from here into the mixer. So let's see if that one's working. I'm gonna go with the green one. And it is working. Pretty simple, but rather effective. Pretty cool, right? I could choose. I could have that or that. Make sure I don't send it too hot. Distort this guy over here. Cool. So now that we got one, so now what we basically have is a synth circuit going on in here. So in my Ableton classes, when we start to learn like synthesizers like analog or even any synthesizer, I always like to think in synth circuits. In Ableton's analog, there's two synth circuits, one on the top and one on the bottom. And this one is a synth circuit that began with the output from this wavetable VCO, and it's arriving here. But now I can layer that, because this wavetable VCO has a sub out, which is I could choose. It could be 1 or 2 or 3 octaves below what's playing right now. Right now I'll leave it at 1 octave below. It's the same wave, but it's 1 octave below. So I could take that and send that to the next channel. Let's see what that sounds like. Well, no sound out there. I don't know what happened here. It should be, let's see if there's another channel. Oh, maybe wrong place. So I got it up there. that's a sub oscillator. So together, they can do their thing here. Now, what's happening with this one though is this is a pure oscillator out, which is receiving the 1 volt per octave voltage control for the pitch, but is not having the envelope generator going on. So I have a few choices. I could take one of these guys, these expander guys, and take the control that's coming out of this and going in there and pop it in here and sort of expand it out to a second so I can control two things with one. So now this can take the effect off of this so you can hear what's going on. So I could do and I could do it both together. Now I could do it a different way. I could actually make it so that I have a separate control for the length of that one. And let's do that. Let's set this back up to control this one the way we wanted it before. Now let's switch out and control this one with another. And in which case though, I'll need the expander to expand the trigger here. So I could have a trigger going into this one, and I'll need another one with a trigger going into the one next to it. So now I should have a situation where this one should be able to trigger. Oh, wrong output. No, it's the right output. Should be able to trigger this guy here. So it's all crazy. So that should have been able to trigger this output here, but I'm missing something right now. Oh, it's the wrong input. So there we go. So I can make this one different lengths. So I can make this one longer on this side, or I can make this one longer. I've been asked if this is a 62 HP case, and I am not sure the actual HPs in this case. And I should tell you guys what HP is. HP would be, you measure how many slots you have by HP. And you could have cases that are, 36 HP or 62 HP, or however, the higher the HP number, the more slots you're going to have. So I don't know exactly what the number is on that, but 62 sounds about right for this case. But I don't know exactly what the HPs are on it. How can I connect a keyboard to the rack and MIDI ins and outs? Okay, that's a great question. So I have behind this thing here, well, this device here, there's Intelligent has this format that's not exactly Eurorack, but it is Eurorack now, where you can lay certain devices sideways, and you could have shorter devices that are kind of in this perspective. And this here is a device that will allow me to send a MIDI input. So I have a MIDI cable going from that drum machine. Let me see. I don't want to unplug it and not be able to plug it back in. So I have a MIDI cable going from my drum machine into the back of this device, which this device connects to the panel back here. And that, you see these lights going, that will get me sync from the drum machine. And not only will it get me sync, but it will all get me all sorts of things. It will also get me gate, trigger, and it will also get me voltage control. I believe this one here is the pitch control. So if I wanted to, I can set this up to a MIDI input output from my computer and connect it via this device here. And this device will translate MIDI that I'm playing on a keyboard. And I'll do that on another another show as we go on. I'll do it. I'll perform all these different things, and it's great if you guys keep on sending all these questions because I'll know what to talk about coming up and coming up editions of this. But via this, I could actually send out control voltage, which is what we're using the sequencer to do right now. I could send control voltage coming from my computer or my controller or whatever directly to any device that I have here, which should be a hell of a lot of fun, especially if you have other devices like I have one from where is it? I think it's Expert Sleepers. They have a device that has like maybe 4 different channels that you could do at once, so you can control like 4. Like this one only does 1 module at a time. I mean, like you can do control voltage on 1 module at a time. The Expert Sleepers one has like 4, and I have one over here from Polyend that does 8. In that rack over there, there's a big rack behind me, which has a Polyend device that will let me send control voltage via a computer or MIDI or USB. This one does even just a USB cable directly to that. So I hope that answers your question. Anyway, let's get back into this in the time we have left. So we have 2 of the same. It's the same oscillator, but it has a regular output and it has a sub output, which I could switch here. I could switch the sub output to do all sorts of things. Let's change the pitch a little bit higher. You can see what's happening there. And then I have the second one, which is the regular one. And that's going to a filter. Now, if you notice, this one wasn't going to a filter. So let's take that sub out and put it into the second filter that I have here. And let's run that second filter's, into the in of this filter. And then out back into this mixer. That way, we can control it with our filter here. And the length. And then the other one. Length. A little bit of effect. Let's put this one. And then let's do the second one, this effect. And with drums. Let's get some drums in here. I actually think this case here, I see that it says intelligent cases with USB. I think this case here has actually USB. Let's see if in the time you have left you can do a quick patching for another oscillator. Let's try this Piston Honda oscillator. So let's quickly patch it in there, just quickly. So let's get the so let's see the output from this internal, and we get into this oscillator here. So that's working. It's very nice. But let's get that on a second channel. So I have another channel I could access here, which is also going 5. Let's see, do I have one that goes longer? This one says 16th notes. So let's do channel 3, 16th notes. And then let's take one of these cables, run it through the CV out of there into the 1 volt per octave CD in, which, let's see where the gates are. The gates are off, the gates are on, and the CV is up. But we're not moving it. This thing is a little tricky. I had a little trouble earlier trying to get the control voltage to work. Let's see if another channel is actually working. Let's see if this original channel is working. Oh, I don't want to do that. And where is the control voltage for the... See, this is what happens. You start losing your place with all these things. So, but it's the fun part of it all too. You know, the fact that you can get this to. Let's see if I can control the voltage finally in one of these things. So this will change here, but plugging it in here should make it move. I don't know if maybe I have to turn it on and off again. This is a cool oscillator. I'm going to take this oscillator and just have fun with it. I'm just going to do the gate part. I'm going to forget about a lot of people do that. They don't, especially when they make techno, they don't really concern themselves too much with pitch. They just kind of want to make trigger sounds. So I'm going to trigger a sound from this guy. So let's see. I'll need a VCA running from this gate here. I'm running out of cables here. Let's see. Maybe I have to open up a new cable. Okay, so let's take that VCA on this, the gate on this, and run it to an envelope generator. I'm going to use this envelope generator. It should be a simple enough envelope generator. And you can see it's triggering. The light is triggering the notes which are on in the gate. So not all the notes are on in the gate. So let's turn a lot of them on, some of them off. And you'll see that's the pattern that I'm creating there. And then I'm going to take this long enough gate out. And there we go. Now I got that going. Do some fun stuff with this. It's a nice. It's like they call it like a cube style or quadratic sort of wavetable setup. Because you can literally get like thousands of wave shapes from the combinations of these three faders here. Let's see if we can match that up with this and get some beat kicks going, some hi-hats, and maybe now, one of the things that we didn't do today, so many things. One of the things that we didn't do today was to tune our oscillators, and we could do that next time. And I can show you how to get through that, which is basically, in order for you to use these oscillators with each other, they all need to be tuned every time you start to play with them. And usually, what I'll do is I'll run it through like a DAW or a tuner, and play with the frequency knob until I get the right tuning. And this is before I patch it in, just to get the out directly into the tuner or to the DAW that has a tuner. And then once I usually get the exact tuning, I'm going to take a piece of tape like this and I'm going to tape it down so that I can't move it anymore. And then I'll tune the next oscillator that I'm looking to use that day and do the same. Once it's tuned, I'll put a piece of tape on it again. And then I'll do that to all my oscillators that I'm looking to work with that day. That way, when I write my sequences, they're all going to be in tune with each other. Right now, I'm kind of live tuning it. A lot of times when I play live with Eurorack, I'll go out there and I'll just kind of wing it and live tune these things, which can be a lot of fun, especially in a live scenario. And, it could be just raw and really cool. But if you want to have precise, tuning, you need to pre-tune these things before we get going with actually writing parts with it. So we'll do that in another show where I show you how to pre-tune these things and get them going. But now I have a third oscillator, two from this guy. Let's get that back in. Too much effect. pretty cool. And it starts. Now, if you get this far, you get to the point where we are at right now, what happens is that you start to see the light at the end of the tunnel. And you start to realize, oh, wow, okay, now I could start plugging different things in. And the way we start plugging things in will dictate how the different changes, and sometimes, and a lot of the times, is what most people are looking for, are unintended consequences, where you plug something in that maybe was like considered wrong or whatever, but the result is like amazing. That's when you start to like come up with very unique and very tasty different sounds from this stuff. But you got to get to where we got to today. You got to be able to plug in your oscillator into a mixer. You got to be able to do all the stuff that we did today. Let's do a little review. Let me go to the main screen here. So we gotta know what our VCO is. We gotta take that VCO and plug it into the mixer. So remember, VCO is voltage control oscillator. We got to know what our VCF is, which is a voltage control filter, and we got to be able to take that filter so that we can play with the tone and mold that wave that you're being sending out from that VCO. We've got to then take an envelope generator and take that envelope generator and make it so that I can make shorter and longer notes and make those notes present with a sharp attack or a quick attack or kind of a swelling sort of attack, depending on what type of sound I want to create. And also for the end of it, do I want it to abruptly end, or do I want it to kind of decay out slowly? And so we need to have an envelope generator for that. We need a VCA so that the envelope generator can work. So we plug in the envelope generator into the VCA, and the VCA will give us the reaction that the envelope generator provokes. We're going to need an audio mixer to get all that sound going. And my audio mixer has a VCA built into it. A lot of the fancier mixers have VCAs built into it. We will eventually need a sequencer. Now, in this case, I used a sequencer inside my rack, so a rack-mounted or a module that is a sequencer. But you can use a sequencer that is a DAW. If you have there's a few ways to do it. You could actually do it via MIDI, the way that we I showed you doing here. There's also, you could have, if you have a DC coupled output, like Ableton and Bitwig will let you do outputs that output directly to trigger or gate and control voltage. So you could do control voltage and gate directly from your DAW if you don't want to have a device that changes the MIDI to that. And then let's see what else we have. And yes, control voltage and trigger are two things that we really need to understand. So understand what control voltage is, because and gate, which is trigger, so that you know what it is that actually makes this whole thing run, and then understand these initial devices so that you know how to put these devices together and make it all happen. Let's see. Somebody says, Scott says, it's worth mentioning that you would always tune your oscillators after you patch the pitch inputs. Otherwise, the impedance change from patching them can detune them, and you could have it to do it again. Yes and no. You could tune them before and then tune them again, and you often have to keep on tuning them. The point with the tuning, it's annoying and frustrating and also very fun. What you're going to notice is that if you tune, if you have an oscillator and you just turn it on and you tune it and you wait an hour, the tuning is going to drift, which is going to be a little bit fun, I guess, and annoying. So yes, there is validity though in that statement that in the end of the game, maybe it is better to tune them after, because it'll be a quicker sort of action. But I like to begin my day by tuning them and then putting them together, because it immediately can just give me an idea of what's going on, and then later retuning them for precise triggering of correct pitches. That would be awesome. All right, it's been very cool. I'm glad that you guys sat through this. I was wondering how you guys would take this. It's a little bit different than what we've been doing before, as far as this Fridays go. This is very, very nerdy, very techie, very, into hardware. We did a survey recently, and a lot of people in the survey in the 343 community said that they wanted to see more instruction on hardware. So here we go. You asked for it, and now you got it. Remember, we're 343 TV. We come from 343 Labs. Please check out our website. Check out our classes. If there's a class or a subject that you want to take, maybe you sign up for a class. This is how we pay the bills, so it would be awesome if you could sign up for a class. And if you like what you're seeing today, please give me a like. I want to be able to impress my friends with all the likes that I get. And also, please subscribe to our channel. Again, 343 TV, and we're glad to be back. And with that, I'll see you next time.